When I finished the news videos, I thought that that would be it for news today, and I kind of wish it was. But unfortunately, I have to report that longtime Memphis promoter and wrestling legend Jerry Jarrett passed away at the age of 80 years old. It was reported in a tweet to us from longtime friend Dutch Mantel. Uh, Jerry Jarrett had spent the better part of a majority of his life in professional wrestling, from working under his mother, Christine Jarrett, in Memphis, and working with Nick Goulis, working as a referee, starting as a referee, working as a wrestler, becoming a top star, working with the likes of Tojo Yamamoto, and and the Assassins and other top Memphis greats, Jackie Fargo, Sputnik Monroe. The list goes on and on and on. And of course, Jerry Lawler. Jerry Jarrett revolutionized Memphis wrestling and kept Memphis as one of the wealthiest territories with talent and with creativity throughout the decades, and that's why Memphis was the final territory to go down when the territory started going down in the 1990s. Alongside Jerry Jarrett, alongside the King, Jerry Jarrett revolutionized Memphis wrestling and revolutionized hardcore wrestling with moments like the concession stand brawl. Jerry had his territory was gutted in 1979, and he, with what he could, with Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee, Wayne Ferris, and Randall Colley, he revolutionized his territory and sparked it up with what he could. And from there, Memphis became one of, if not the biggest territories in all of the United States. Jerry Lawler and Jerry Jarrett had the idea, had the ability to see the writing on the wall before they could, as personal beefs make money. Personal beefs make money, and they gave Hollywood celebrity Andy Kaufman the opportunity to get into the wrestling business and do what he does best, and that is entertain. And he and Jerry Lawler put together one of the greatest feuds of wrestler celebrity in professional wrestling to this day. The King and Jerry Jarrett had the ability to... They kept a weekly territory running without question, without concern, without anything. They kept a weekly territory going for years, for decades. For decades, they kept a weekly territory running. For decades. Every Monday night, fans would file into the Mid-South Coliseum and sell out the Mid-South Coliseum because Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler were the masters of stipulations, because they would give everything they could with matches, and they would give everything they could with matches and make you want to come back the next week and see a different match because they found a different stipulation. They were the masters of stipulations and getting the most out of angles, because that's exactly what they did. Jerry Jarrett is the reason why Jim Cornette was able to get into wrestling. Jerry Jarrett was one of the reasons why Jim Cornette was able to get in the wrestling business, giving him his break. Corny has gone on record more than once saying that Jerry Jarrett has said, if you can get the fans to hate you as much as the boys do, then you'll be an amazing asset to the company. though it was not until after his time in Memphis that Corny did pick up, and find his footing in Mid-South. But if not for Jerry Jarrett, Cornette, Bobby Eaton, The King, Dutch, Sting and the Ultimate Warrior, because Memphis gave Sting and the Ultimate Warrior their break. Memphis gave Mean Mark Callis their break. Memphis was where The Rock trained. Memphis was where The Rock trained. Memphis was where Kane got his break. Memphis gave us Steve Austin before Steve Austin made his way to WCW. The amount of stars that made their way through Memphis wrestling, it is impossible to list out every single person that spent time in Memphis. Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty spent time in Memphis to hone their craft. And Jerry Jarrett taught Cornette how to book. Unquestionably, Jerry Jarrett had influence over the King and how he booked. Dutch Mantell, Bill Dundee. Memphis wrestling influenced the wrestling business for years. And indirectly, because of Memphis wrestling, because of the style of Memphis wrestling, it helped pave the way for hardcore wrestling. Paul Heyman worked early on in Memphis. Eddie Gilbert learned in Memphis. You would not see somebody get hit by a car. You would say, oh, well, Jerry, Austin got hit by a car. It was done in Memphis first. Jerry Jarrett started promoting in 1977 and ended up taking over the Memphis territory. He ended up taking over the Memphis territory, or the Tennessee territory, from Nick Goulas, and everything would explode in the 1980s for Memphis. As I mentioned, they would weekly sell out. The Mid-South Coliseum. They would also merge with World Class Championship Wrestling in 1989, when World Class would come out, and that's what paved the way for the USWA. In 1995, alongside, I do believe, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, Jerry Jarrett folded up USWA and closed the doors of the USWA, selling his stake to Jerry Lawler and Larry Burton. In 2002, after attempting to purchase WCW with help from an investment firm in Boston and throwing his name in the hat, Jerry Lawler and his son Jeff and Jerry Jarrett would found TNA Wrestling. NWA TNA. Jerry would stay with TNA until 2005, selling his 72% controlling stake in October to Panda Energy and to keep the company afloat. The influence and the legacy that Jerry Jarrett has left on the wrestling business is impossible. It is impossible to put into words. From Continental to USWA to World Class, to TNA, the merger with World Class, the association with Bill Watts, the talent exchange with WWF, everything under the sun, the amount of influence that Jerry Jarrett has left on the wrestling business is incredible. It is impossible to put into words. It is impossible to put into words the legacy that Jerry Jarrett left behind, or leaves behind, in the wrestling business. 40 plus years, probably over 50 years in the wrestling business, from his time with his mother, Christine Jarrett, who worked as a partner with Nick Goulas, to being a wrestler, to being a promoter, to from Memphis to Florida with TNA. The legacy that he leaves behind is incredible. Condolences to the family and the friends and the fans of Jerry Jarrett, who passed away earlier today at the age of 80. Condolences to his son Jeff and those who knew and love him. Thank you for all you did for the wrestling business, Jerry. Thank you for everything you gave. Thank you for the legacy you leave behind. And thank you for helping make wrestling what it is today. Godspeed and rest in peace.